You want success. Careful, because the very thing you're chasing might be the thing that eats you alive. Joe Rogan once said, "Fame is like a drug, and most people overdose." Brutal, yep, true, even more. Today, we're breaking down 4 powerful truths about why success can destroy you, and how to flip the script before it flips you. You ever notice how the moment people finally make it, they start acting like the game is over? Like success is the trophy, and once you've got it, you can just put your feet up, sip cocktails, and chill. But here's the thing Joe Rogan always points out, that exact moment, the one that feels like the finish line, is actually the most dangerous part of the journey. Because success has this sneaky side effect. It lulls you to sleep. It whispers, "Relax, you've earned this." And before you know it, the very fire that got you to the top starts to burn out. Comfort feels like a reward, but in reality, it's the silent killer of growth. Think about athletes. You ever see a fighter finally win the championship belt? They grind for years, they're hungry, they're disciplined, they're locked in, and then they get that belt, and what happens? Some of them stop training as hard. They stop eating clean. They start believing their own hype. And suddenly, that once unstoppable champion, they're getting knocked out by the next hungry kid in line. Why? Because success made them comfortable, and comfort killed their edge. Rogan says it all the time. Discipline doesn't care if you've made it. The universe doesn't hand out lifetime achievement awards that keep you safe forever. Every single day is a new fight. But the danger is, success tricks your brain into thinking the fight is over. You start waking up later saying no to the hard reps, convincing yourself you can coast just a little. And in those little moments of comfort, your future is being stolen from you. The truth is, success doesn't buy you freedom, it rents it, and the rent is due every damn day. I'll give you a real-world example. Look at comedians who make it big. When they're coming up, they're grinding in tiny clubs, bombing on stage, rewriting jokes, hustling for scraps. That pressure makes them sharp. But once they've got Netflix specials, once they're flying private, once they're recognized everywhere they go, some of them stop doing the work. They don't test new material, they don't bomb anymore, they don't sharpen the blade. And you can see it in their shows. They're still famous, sure, but their edge is gone. Success didn't grow them. It froze them. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine someone who treats success not as a finish line, but as a reset button. Like, okay, cool, I made it here. Now what's next? How do I level up again? That's the mindset Rogan respects, because success is a snapshot. Growth is the movie, and if you're not filming new scenes, the story ends. Let's make it personal. Think about a time in your own life when you worked your ass off for something. A promotion, a fitness goal, maybe even a relationship. You wanted it so badly you were on fire. And then you got it, and instead of doubling down, you exhaled, you relaxed. Maybe you skipped a workout. Maybe you got a little lazy at work. Maybe you stopped putting in the same effort you used to. And what happened? That edge disappeared. The thing that got you there started to slip through your fingers. That's the trap. Success makes you think you're safe when in reality, you're more vulnerable than ever. Rogan frames it perfectly. Growth only happens in the struggle. Success kills struggle, and without struggle you die slowly, not physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. That's why you see people who have everything and yet they're miserable. Because the hunger is gone. They thought the couch was a throne when really it was a coffin. Now here's the twist. Comfort itself isn't bad. Resting isn't bad, but living there, that's the problem. Comfort should be a pit stop, not a permanent address. You want a soft bed after a long day? Great. But don't build your house on the pillow, because if you do, life will smack you awake with reality. Someone hungrier, sharper, more disciplined will pass you up, and you'll be left wondering how the hell it happened. And here's the kicker. The higher you climb, the more dangerous comfort becomes. Because when you're broke, when you're nobody, when nobody cares, you're forced to hustle. But once you've got fans, money, attention, a reputation, the world will let you slack. People will still clap for you even if you're half-assing it. That's deadly, because applause is the loudest form of comfort, and if you start living off the sound of claps instead of the grind of work, it's game over. The way out: treat success like quicksand, respect it. Recognize it's pulling you down the moment you stop moving. That's why Rogan's always pushing himself into new challenges. Hunting, martial arts, stand-up, podcasts, learning new things. He knows the antidote to comfort is curiosity. The antidote to "I've made it" is what's next. Because the second you think you're finished, you actually are. So here's the question you've got to ask yourself. Are you chasing success? Or are you chasing growth? One will put you on the couch, the other will keep you alive. The weirdest part about success isn't the money or the attention. It's the people it brings into your life. Or maybe I should say, the people it pretends to bring into your life. Because Joe Rogan nails this idea. The moment you start winning, people show up out of nowhere. Suddenly, you've got friends you didn't even know existed. Everyone's your biggest supporter. Everyone's got your back. But here's the problem: they don't want you. They want what's attached to you. They want the glow of your spotlight. They want a seat at your table because the table's finally stacked with something worth eating. Success attracts leeches, not always obvious ones either. Some are slick. They clap the loudest when you walk in the room. They tell you you're brilliant, you're untouchable, you're perfect, and it feels good. It feels incredible, honestly. Who doesn't want a chorus of "you're amazing" every time you open your mouth? But that's where the trap is. Because when everyone around you is a yes man, who's left to tell you the truth? Who's left to say, "Hey, that joke wasn't funny," or "that idea is garbage," or "you're getting soft"? And that's where people start to crumble. Rogan talks about how fame and success can warp your reality. If nobody's willing to check you, you start believing your own hype. You start living in a bubble where everything you touch is gold. But here's the reality check out side of that bubble: the world doesn't care. The world will expose you the second you slip. And if the only people around you are fake supporters who never challenge you, you'll be completely unprepared when reality finally punches you in the mouth. Think about celebrities who crash and burn. You see it all the time. Stars with entourages, massive crews, dozens of friends, tagging along for the ride. But when the money dries up, when the fame fades, those friends vanish like smoke. They were never there for the person. They were there for the perks. And the one left standing in the ashes, the star themselves, alone, confused, wondering how they missed the signs. That's the cost of letting fake people orbit your success. And it's not just celebrities, it happens in everyday life too. Maybe you got promoted at work and suddenly everyone's buddy with you. They're all laughs at lunch, all praise in the meetings. But the moment you make a decision they don't like, they turn. Or maybe you start making more money and suddenly family members you haven't heard from in years start calling you, not because they miss you, because they see opportunity. Success has a way of turning relationships into transactions. And if you're not careful, you'll confuse fake love with real loyalty. Here's the part that stings. The fakes are easy to spot when times are bad. The real test is when times are good. That's when they blend in. That's when they wear the mask, and most people, drunk on success, don't even bother to look closely. But Rogan always warns about this. If you can't tell who's real, you're already in trouble. Because one honest friend who tells you the truth is worth more than 50 cheerleaders who lie to your face. Now imagine this scenario. You're at the top of your game. You've got money, fame, influence. Everyone around you is patting your back. You think life's perfect, but behind the scenes your craft is slipping, your discipline is gone, your growth is stalled. No one says a word because no one wants to upset the golden goose. And by the time you realize it, it's too late. The audience has moved on, the market has shifted, someone hungrier, sharper, more grounded has taken your place. That's how fake people destroy you, not by attacking you, but by never protecting you from yourself. So, what's the antidote? Rogan's big on this. You've got to build a circle of people who care more about you than about your success. People who will call you out when you're wrong. People who don't flinch at your status or your bank account. That's how you stay grounded when everything around you is pulling you up into the clouds. Because the higher you fly, the easier it is to lose touch with the ground. And if you lose touch with the ground, eventually gravity does what it always does. It brings you back down. Hard. This is why you see the most successful people cling to tiny, tight circles. A handful of friends, not a parade. Because they know the parade doesn't care about them. The parade cares about the show. And shows end. What lasts is truth, and truth only comes from people who aren't afraid to give it to you straight. So ask yourself, who in your circle is real, who tells you the truth even when it stings? And if you can't name anyone, then maybe you're already surrounded by fakes. Here's the thing people don't realize about success. It doesn't change you, it exposes you. Joe Rogan says it all the time. Pressure reveals character. When you're nobody, your flaws are small, private, easy to hide. But when you're successful, when the spotlight hits you, those same flaws become headlines. They get magnified, broadcasted, dissected. The world sees every crack in your armor, and suddenly what was once just your little problem becomes your downfall. Think about it. If you've got a temper, success will give you a bigger stage to blow up on. If you're insecure, success will amplify it because now millions of people are watching and you can't hide behind anonymity. If you're reckless, your recklessness doesn't just affect you anymore, it's front page news. Success is like turning up the volume on your inner chaos, and the louder it gets, the harder it is to control. Look at Hollywood. How many stars have we watched self-destruct in public? They didn't suddenly become addicts or egomaniacs or ticking time bombs. Those traits were there before. Success just gave them a megaphone. The money, the fame, the pressure. They don't create your demons. They feed them. And the scarier part, everyone's watching you fight battles you didn't even realize you had until it was too late. And this isn't just a celebrity problem, it's universal. Imagine you're at work, and suddenly you get promoted to a big leadership role. Sounds amazing, right? But here's the catch. Whatever flaws you had before, they're about to explode under pressure. If you were disorganized before, now you're disorganized with a team depending on you. If you avoided tough conversations before, now you're avoiding them with people's careers on the line. That magnification can either sharpen you or destroy you. Rogan loves pointing out that real growth happens when you confront those flaws before success makes them public, because the truth is, the world isn't kind. The audience doesn't give you space to figure it out once you're in the spotlight. They don't wait for you to fix yourself. They judge you in real time. They build you up just to watch you crash. That's the twisted thrill of fame. People want heroes, but they also love a good downfall, and success sets you up for both. Think about fighters again. When a rookie loses, no one cares. They're still learning, still developing. But when a champ loses, everyone's watching, everyone's dissecting, everyone's talking about how they're slipping, how they've lost it, how they're overrated. The same loss hits 10 times harder when you're successful because the expectations are brutal. Success magnifies the impact of every single flaw, mistake, or weakness you've got. And here's the paradox. Most people chase success thinking it will fix their problems. They think money will cure insecurity. They think fame will cure loneliness. They think power will cure self-doubt. But success doesn't fix, it amplifies. If you're insecure with nothing, you'll be even more insecure with everything, because now you're terrified of losing it. If you're lonely without success, wait until you're surrounded by fake people who don't know you at all. That's a loneliness you can't imagine. Success shines a spotlight on the parts of you you tried to bury, and there's nowhere to hide. Now, here's the kicker. This is actually a gift. if you're ready for it. Because when you realize success magnifies your flaws, you can use that pressure as a tool. You can prepare. You can sharpen yourself before the spotlight hits. You can surround yourself with people who call you out, keep you grounded, and remind you that growth has to come before glory. But most people don't. Most people rush into the spotlight thinking they're ready, only to discover the flaws they ignored are the ones that take them down. And it's not just about flaws in behavior, it's flaws in character. If you're greedy, success will make you greedier. If you're arrogant, success will make you insufferable. If you're lazy, success will accelerate your decline. It's like pouring gasoline on whatever fire you've already got inside you. And unless that fire is purpose, discipline, and hunger, you're going to burn yourself alive. That's why Rogan talks so much about testing yourself. Jiu-jitsu, comedy, hunting, challenges. He's constantly putting himself in situations where his weaknesses are exposed in small, manageable ways. Why? Because better to face your flaws on the mat, in the gym, or in the grind, than to face them on the world stage where everyone's watching and failure is permanent. The training ground is where you get humble. The spotlight is where humility, or the lack of it, destroys you. And here's the ultimate irony. Success isn't the reward. Success is the test. It's the thing that reveals whether you were building yourself honestly along the way, or whether you were just faking it until the lights got too bright. Success is the X-ray. It doesn't lie. It shows what's inside, whether you want it revealed or not. So ask yourself, if success put a magnifying glass on your life right now, would you be proud of what it exposed? Or would you be terrified because one way or another it's going to come out? The question is whether it destroys you or forces you to rise. Here's the most dangerous part of success that nobody wants to admit. It's empty if you don't know why you wanted it in the first place. Joe Rogan always says, success without purpose is poison. And he's right, because when you climb the mountain and realize the view isn't what you thought it would be, that's when people spiral. That's when the stories of self-destruction begin. It's not because they didn't get what they wanted. It's because they got it, and it didn't fix the hole inside. Think about how many people chase money their whole lives. They sacrifice time, health, relationships, everything for the paycheck. Then one day they finally have the money. They're sitting in the big house, driving the nice car, posting the photos to prove it. And yet, late at night, they're staring at the ceiling, wondering, is this it? That's the most dangerous question you can ask yourself after achieving everything you thought you wanted. Is this it? Success makes the void louder. Fame, money, applause, it's all external. It can't fill something internal. And if you don't have a mission, if you don't have a why bigger than your ego, success becomes toxic. That's why you see so many famous people spiral into addiction, depression, chaos. They thought the top of the mountain was the answer. Instead, they discovered the mountain was empty. That realization can break people. Rogan points this out over and over. The happiest people aren't the ones chasing applause. They're the ones chasing mastery. They're the ones anchored to growth, to curiosity, to becoming better, stronger, sharper every single day. Because when success is your only goal, what happens when you get it? Game over. You've already won. But when growth is your goal, there is no finish line. You wake up every day with another challenge to tackle, another version of yourself to beat. That's where fulfillment lives. Here's the trap, though society sells us this illusion that once you're successful, you're done. You're complete, you've made it, and so people fight like hell to get there. But when they finally arrive, they're not prepared for the silence. Nobody tells you about the silence. That moment when the applause fades, the notifications slow down, and you're left alone with yourself. If you don't have purpose, that silence feels like death. Look at the legends who lasted. They weren't chasing trophies. They were chasing something deeper. Michael Jordan wasn't obsessed with fame. He was obsessed with winning, with competing, with testing the limits of his body and mind. Joe Rogan isn't addicted to being the podcast guy. He's addicted to learning, to conversations, to exploring new perspectives. That's why they never run out of gas. Their tank isn't fueled by applause. It's fueled by purpose, and the opposite is just as clear. Think about the artists, the actors, the entrepreneurs who make it, only to vanish into self-destruction. They achieved the goal, but the goal was hollow. And once the goal was gone, so was their reason to wake up in the morning. That's what success without purpose does. It strips you of direction. You've got everything, but you feel like nothing. That's the cruel irony. This is why Rogan always leans on the idea of anchoring yourself to something bigger. Success should be a side effect, not the destination. You work on your craft, you push yourself to grow, you challenge your limits, and success might follow. But if success is the only thing you're chasing, you're setting yourself up for the emptiest win of your life, and it applies to every level. Even in your own world, if you're chasing a promotion, ask yourself why. Is it just the title, the paycheck, or is it because you genuinely want to grow, to take on more, to lead, to expand? If it's just the surface stuff, you'll get it, and it'll feel great for about 5 minutes. Then it'll fade and you'll need another hit. But if your purpose is deeper, if it's tied to growth, you'll never run out of energy. Purpose is the antidote to poison. It's the filter that keeps success from rotting you. And the best part, purpose doesn't have to be grand. It doesn't have to be saving the world or changing humanity. It can be simple, becoming the best parent you can be, mastering your craft, building something meaningful. Purpose is personal, and without it, no amount of success will ever be enough. So here's the brutal truth. Success can destroy you, but only if you let it define you. If you chase success as the goal, you'll get to the top and feel nothing. But if you chase growth, discipline, curiosity, if you anchor yourself to purpose, then success becomes fuel, not poison. It pushes you forward instead of dragging you down. The real question is, when you finally make it, what will you be standing on? A hollow platform or a foundation built on something real? Because one will collapse the moment the applause stops. The other will carry you for a lifetime.